What's going on, everybody? My name is Jake with Code 4 Defense, and today we're here in the shop taking a look at the Silencerco Octane 45 2.0 series suppressor. Let's get into it. Like I said, we're taking a look at the Octane 45 2.0 series suppressor. This is from Silencerco, and before we even get into the overview of this device, I want to explain my relationship with Silencerco, which is pretty simple. I don't have one. I wanted a suppressor in our shop that was simple, reliable, and offered multi-caliber capability so that I didn't have to have a bunch of these things lying around when I was going to do weapons accessory testing with specifically suppressors. This one is made more for handguns than it is rifles. It does do subsonic 300 blackout, although that's not really something that I'm super interested in at the moment. With that said, it does everything from 45 all the way down to 22 long rifle. It has a aluminum sleeve with a stainless steel baffle stack and a stainless steel piston for the Nielsen device. The Octane series is kind of a mid-tier suppressor from Silencerco. It's very affordable, around $600, I think, is what you can find them for. You can probably find them for around $500 if you really hunt for a good deal on it. I purchased this one through our supplier that we get our wholesale guns through for our shop, so it was a little less for me. That said, I knew Silencerco's reputation, and I did a little bit of research before we purchased this thing. And now I wanted to give you my opinion of it after I fired well over 2,000 rounds through it without taking it apart or cleaning it. So you and I are about to step over to the table and take this thing apart for the first time. Take a look at the baffles and see just what more than 2,000 rounds of various calibers shooting through this thing looks like, and just how well it's held up. Overall, you can look the specs up on Silencerco's website. It's a little over 8 inches in length, and it's pretty lightweight. Like I said, the aluminum mixed with the stainless steel works really well. It's a direct thread. This piston is 1/2x28. The other thing that drew me to this series of suppressor is you can buy adapters for tri-lugs and other quick adapt or quick connect options on the market so that you could pop this thing on very quickly and take it off very quickly as well. But everything that I have in the shop is direct thread, so 1/2x28 was perfect for me, and it's worked flawlessly for everything that I've put on it. Quickly, before we take it over to the table, disassemble it and take a look at the baffle stack as well as the baffles themselves. This thing has performed extremely well for me. I think the main issue that you run into oftentimes with the direct thread suppressors is them walking off or essentially loosening themselves up as you fire. And of all the rounds that I've shot through this thing on all the various weapon platforms that I've put it on, I've never once had this thing loosen up on me after I hand tightened it down to the end of the muzzle on the handgun or the firearm that I put it on. So all of that said, right now I'll save you the trouble of waiting till the end of the video. This thing has been a fantastic suppressor for us, and I know for a fact it's going to service us, or it's going to serve us for thousands more rounds to come, not have any issues. But all of that said, let's take it over to the table. You and I will be surprised with what we find. All right, so here is the piston. Let's see, we'll take that out. And here is the Nielsen device. So this acts as a spring that slows down the recoil so that it works properly with a handgun. Now, you can use this on suppressed, or you cannot use this on fixed barreled rifles or anything that doesn't have a locking block action, because it doesn't allow enough gas for the system to operate properly. So this is specifically made to work with non-reciprocating barrels, fixed barrel type applications. So you can see a little bit of carbon build up there on the piston. On the piston itself, nothing crazy though. After 2,000 rounds, really not that bad at all. If you wanted to use this with a fixed barrel device like a rifle of some kind or a pistol caliber carbine, you would have to use a spacer that goes in here that's fixed, that doesn't allow the spring of this to separate, to push back against the front face of the suppressor. So we've got the piston retaining ring right there, the spring that sits in there, and then inside of here, well, let's see. Inside of here is the baffle stack. Perhaps the best way to get at this is actually to use the front face of the piston. This interfaces with the front of here, and it just unscrews the front of the piston there, unscrews the front cap or the end of the suppressor, so that you can get at your baffle stack. So here is the full baffle stack. You can see here is the tube itself, completely empty. All right, that's where the piston sits in place, right there. And then we have our full baffle stack right here, which inside, let's see, all the way down through there. But these break apart. They fit very closely into one another like Russian nesting dolls. That's the end baffle right there. I'm going to keep these nice and lined up here. This gives you a little bit better shot. You can see that that little key goes all the way down so that they fit into one another appropriately. I would assume what's holding these up is a little bit of carbon lock. I've never fired rimfire cartridges through this suppressor, so I would imagine it would be a little bit dirtier after something like that. There we go. That last one's a little stuck there. All right. So I've kept these in order, and if I was going to do something with them, I would imagine it would be putting them through my ultrasonic cleaner. Although, to be honest, these things, for as many rounds as I put through them, really not bad, even kind of. Like, just a quick wipe down of these, and they're going to be pretty good to go, to be honest. So we'll stack them back up here from front to back, and I don't actually think it matters. These are all exactly the same size, except for the last piece is what's different. You can see, you can line them up here with these little markings here on the side. So we'll line this back up. All right. So that is the suppressor as it looks. This right here goes to the bottom. That goes to the front. So you can see right there. So when gas enters, it catches it as it enters in to the side. And then as gas goes through each one of those baffles, it captures it and slows it down. So the cone goes towards the back end of the suppressor. Then you just screw on the last cap, which forms the last baffle. This just screws right on here. Then you use your piston to tighten this down. And this is what compresses that baffle stack back together. So now the baffle stack is nice and tight in there. Spring goes on top of the piston. Piston fits back inside. And it should seat itself in there. And then this device just screws right over top. All right, so there you go. The Silencerco Octane 2.0. This thing is pretty dynamite for what it is. The ridges on the edge make it real nice to be able to just screw right into place on your firearm. The direct thread with this piston works extremely well, and overall, for I would imagine around $500-$550 in the wild, you really can't go wrong with this thing. It served me extremely well. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. You guys be safe, and we will see you on the next one.